All right, so we're here at the week six TCL 76 sync. I know this week was a bit challenging with these issues, so why not get into them? Mindy, take it away.
I'm doing issues, I think. Right?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, we did. Oh, we are going to do issues first.
Oh, did you? Sorry, the demos. Oh, I guess my mistake. Nathan, that's you.
Cool. I think the two of you were on different teams this week, so that works out. Who wants to demo first?
Will make the same request I made last week because ours wasn't totally finished. Sarah, do you mind if I go second? Cool, thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's see if my sharing the screen works this week. Okay, let me think. Okay. And yeah, I should share my whole screen. So let's do that. Okay, so can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Not. Awesome. Okay. We don't want that. Okay. So our issue this week, Marcos and I, we needed to make it so that if a user was trying to add an item that already exists on their list, then they shouldn't be able to. So there should be an error message, and it would account for like different casing spaces and as well as like characters. And it should be saved afterwards. So to give you an example of how it should work now. So yeah, I have this list. And if okay, some old features working that me and Emma did, so that's good. If we do Apple, we'll do soon submit. So we'll have Apple on the list, but now if we try to do Apple with a space in it, it shouldn't work. And we have this new, based off a suggestion that Allison had in the reviews, there's an option to like give the user an option if you want to still add Apple twice. So you could say okay, or you can say cancel, and then it won't show up on your list. But before it was that it wouldn't show up or add. And to give an example of something else, if we have Apple comma, that won't work. But it asks, do you want to add it? If you add similar items, identical items, Firebase doesn't add it. We didn't identify what exactly is doing that or if it's like a Firebase thing, but this will add just because it's not identical. And then, but if you do have Apple again, that won't work at all, even if you say okay. So that could be buggy. And then plurals are also accounted for, something that Emma and Allison also mentioned. So we use the includes methods, and I'll talk about that, but you can add it if you'd like, and you'll have apples. But otherwise, it would be that you wouldn't add it if you click cancel. So that's what we did. And we also have, we ended up using reject. So it's kind of, you can put a random number, you could put random things in it, but if it still spells out apple, it'll be squeezed up and you will still have it. And it'll recognize that it's not, but if you, oh, and the pop-up won't show up if it's not existing. Okay, cool. Now that's what we did. And to show a bit of the code that we did. So our main concern was we need to, whatever the user's items already are on the list that they're on, we want to filter through all of them and see if there is any match to the input data. So we needed to pass in data to manage lists through app.jsx. Yeah, right there. And we wanted it to be that after this list path check, and way before they go into add item, there's an early return in the handle submit. So what we did was we wanted to save the form data. So whatever check or pushing of strings is already saved. And then filter through. And if there is a match, and meaning that the length of the filtered array is greater than 0, then we go and do the check. So yeah, so we have here, we used regex. We try to do other things like string or take away spaces, but since we were like, okay, let's just get rid of all the characters instead of having like some long if statement, let's just go for a replace with the regex expression. So it replaces it with an empty string, and we also check for case. And this is the check that I included after for plural. So does the form data include some like part of the name? Like is part of the name included? So apples, you can see apple. Okay, yeah. And to add the suggestion option, so we have a confirm window. So if they're not, okay, hold on. Okay. If they confirm it, then it'll continue. But if they don't, it'll go here. It'll return. Or the other way around. But yeah, that was for if giving them the option, especially if like we have like weird strings where they put exclamation point, and it's like, we detected it if you want it, but if you don't want it, if you do want it, go ahead and submit it. So yes, that was pretty much it. And if we look in Firebase to show you something that I mentioned earlier oh, I need to be refreshed. Okay, yeah. So if you remember, I added Apple like twice, like the normal version. That adds, but these add just because I gave the option to do that. So otherwise, we can revert it. That's just like a future thing that we can address if anyone has an opinion. Yeah, any questions or any thoughts? That's pretty much it.
Can you run through doing the exact same item again?
Sure. Okay, yeah. If you want to see with Firebase.
No, the pop-up alerts.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, they go a little faster.
So
Yeah.
no problem. So we'll say a similar item is already on your list. Do you still want to add Apple?
And then could you press OK?
Apple has been added to your list.
Mm.
And then it doesn't actually add.
Mm.
Yeah.
Be nice if it said like, you already have that, you can't add it or something like that.
Yeah, I guess we could do that.
I actually just love that comment in the code. It just said, if there is an exact match, you should probably just say this item exists.
Yeah.
So not doing the suggestion and getting rid of that? Or what do you think about the confirming part?
Yeah, I think it's good when there's a similar item. But if it's an exact match, like if it's the exact item, you should probably say it already exists, you know. In which case it shouldn't be an option, because then you'd be trying to override the original input or the original item.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we just added that last night. So I will note that.
Otherwise, I really like it. Well done. I like that you used regex. Actually, there's an interesting thing with regex. A lot of times people don't like it. And so there's like kind of this general thing of, I think a large percentage of people don't like using it. And so they're like, don't use it because then I have to use it, kind of thing. I always enjoyed, there's actually like this like regex crossword puzzle thing that I like legit enjoy playing because I'm that kind of nerd. But yeah, I think like it's a very simple, clean for like use of regex. So like there's no concern here at all. But just so you know, like that is a thing that people sometimes are concerned about. But I honestly love the use of it more often than not. Anyway, but I love the use of it here in particular. Like it's a very clean, quick way of doing that, I think.
I will say too, ChatGPT has made it kind of negligible. Like
Mm.
it's
So that
it'll just spit out. You're just like, I need a regex that
that's
checks
it.
whether or not this character exists, and it'll just
Mhm.
spit it out. It's fantastic.
I could
Um,
And could
Also,
probably
I really liked all the. Sorry.
and read it real easy too. Yeah. What does this do?
Yeah, oh, I've done that too. Yeah, just like the really long ones. I'm like, I don't know. Tell me what that does. Um, yeah, it's great. I loved all the edge cases you guys thought of too. Like, and regex is 1,000% the right way to check for that. For like capital spaces, special characters. Like, there was a lot that you guys considered and solved for. So
Mhm.
that's definitely a good mentality because that's the kind of stuff that users do all the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
cool. Allison, do you want to jump in with yours?
Yes, I do. Okay, so um here we go. Another week, another opportunity for me to learn about timestamps and dates and all kinds of things in Firebase. All of you, I think, had an opportunity to meet with me this week, and for that, I am grateful. The goal for this week was to change slash update date next purchased with a more accurate slash smarter calculation for when our user should expect to next purchase this item. Before the date next purchase field down here was populated, when a user would add something, so we'll add hummus kind of soon, 14 days. Previously, date next purchase would just add 14 days to the date created. But we wanted the date next purchase to be a little bit smarter and take into account a few more things. So I'll just jump into it. I'm going to go ahead and add hummus, and I'm going to set it for, I'm expecting to buy it again kind of soon. Submit. Hummus has been added to your list. You can see it's down here. Date created right now. Date last purchase is null, and date next purchase is 14 days added to September 15th, which is September 29th. So that all looks good. When we go to list, I can see hummus here, and I click, and I expect date next purchase to change to be not September 29th. I honestly don't understand entirely how this math works out, but I knew that the date needed to be not September 29th. So when I do, yeah, it changed to right now. Amazing. So okay, I'm going to keep going. And I guess that's pretty much that for the user experience. Yeah. So I guess jumping into the code, we were expected to use a provided function called calculate estimate, and it took in 3 arguments, which was previous estimate, days since last purchase, and total purchases. So we'll jump into that. So here's kind of where I lived for the past few days. We needed to update our update item function to take in this calculate estimate. We needed to come up with previous estimate, days since last purchase, and total purchases. I did that by, with the help of Devin, creating this get days between function, or sorry, get days between dates function, where it takes in 2 different dates and it spits out the difference between the 2 days, and it gives me a number. It was a lot of converting numbers to days, back to numbers, back to days, and so on and so forth. But this function really did simplify things. I think I was very reluctant at first to do this function because I thought that it made more sense visually to just look at it and do the math right here. But it definitely made for cleaner code, and it looks really nice. We were going back and forth on how the data needed to be updated. And I know that Emma worked on this late last night, and so I think she would probably have more to say on this. But yeah, we ran into, oh yeah, updated some stuff. That's great. I think the biggest hurdles were figuring out what in the front end needed to be updated, because in my mind, not much really needed to change. It was more back end information, but we ran into some big hurdles with state being updated. For a while, checkboxes were not unchecking when manually testing within Firebase. Um, and that was problematic. Um, but I kind of just decided to trust that if this is changing to a different date, then something was happening, which is not totally logical, but that's kind of where I ended things. Um, Something else was we, hmm, okay, lost my train of thought, but I think that's pretty much that. If y'all have any questions, um, we, yeah, spent a lot of time going back and forth on how we were passing things through, how item was being deconstructed and reconstructed, and we kind of went through a few rigmaroles with that. Um, but ultimately, calculate estimate, we got that to work, I think, halfway at least. So that's kind of where we left things. Yeah, Sarah helped out a lot this week. Devin, I was on the phone with you for a while. Mindy, I think you helped me earlier this week. Honestly, between last week and this week, it's all kind of blurring together. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Hopefully next week is a little bit of a, if not next week, the week after that. Because the week after that is a little bit more like you get to do, it's like you have some freedom to decide where you want to go with things. So I was gonna say working with dates and times, or it's not for the faint of heart.
I
Especially
have learned there's a phrase in the education world that is not coming to me right now, but it's like positive production or something. That's like you learn a lesson and it's very hard, but you learn a lesson and that's ultimately net good. And that is kind of how this week was. It was learning more about functions and like the complexity of them. And I feel like that's a lesson that I learn every time I sit down to code. And that is ultimately very good. And I think makes me a better developer. Um, yeah, dates and timestamps. I don't feel like a pro yet, but I think by the end of our cohort, I should be.
I
I would
was
say for the record, I don't feel like a pro yet.
yeah, right. You run into issues with it always because there's just a ridiculous number of ways to do it. Can I have you walk through something with me though, real quick?
Yes.
Let's create a new item.
Mhm.
Um,
I'll go and have this up just for the heck of it. Okay.
any
Mm,
whatever comes to mind.
Let's do strawberries. I will say having it be like food centered, I feel like I'm very snack motivated. So this is a testing this over and over again was not too bad. Do you have a preference for how soon?
Let's do 14
Okay.
and then click submit just so that there's nice, obvious like difference. And then go ahead and press OK. Go to your list, but I want to change the date created. Could you
Okay.
change it to be yeah, and then press update, and then go to your list and go ahead and purchase it.
Mhm. So it kind of seems like date next purchase is just changing to date next purchased.
Date last purchased, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering a little bit. Let's do another one, another
Mhm.
test actually. We can keep the same. Can you change the total purchases to like 5 or something?
On a new item?
On strawberries is fine.
Okay.
Um, and let's change the date last purchased to like September, well, sure, yeah. And now go ahead and click it in your database or in your list. Yeah, check it. So it's not. Maybe it's just the very first time it does that. It's been a while since I've played with that function.
I
But it,
think that something we were really trying to, Emma and I kept going back and forth on like feeling frustrated by not totally understanding what the end product should be. And I think that's kind of where this feeling of I know that date next purchase just shouldn't be this day. And so if it's something else, I think that could be correct. And I think like the mystical magic of calculate estimate, that was a mystery, I think like just didn't totally land. Um, so yeah, I like don't know if that's like the best approach. There's no way that it is, but yeah, that's kind of just where I'm coming from.
yeah. I just had a thought. What if you change the date created? Can you change that one more time?
Yep.
Like uh like a couple months ago.
Whoop.
And then change the total purchases to 2. And then go ahead and click on it again in the oh, you might have to change the date last purchased to something too. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, can you change the date last purchased also?
Uh-huh.
The one like let's do that like a month or two ago. Maybe like yeah. And I'll try it. Interesting. Okay. I will continue, keep on doing that. There is a part of me that's like, if it's long ago and it's only had 4 purchases, it should push it out further than tomorrow. So there's a part of me that's like, is that working correctly?
Yeah, I don't know because I don't know. I felt like it would have given more accurate estimates before. Like at least it certainly shouldn't put the date next purchase as today if you check an item for today. It should be at least like one day in the future.
I could see like it being, creating it. If you created it today and you purchased it today, then by the time it's ready and available to be checked again, it will be automatically if the date next purchased is also today. But yeah, I do feel like there might be something wonky maybe. But yeah, well done. Times are hard.
It was, I feel like, yeah, I think that there was something like funky going on with, I think also like my limited knowledge of Firebase came into play, obviously. Um, but yeah, I like am, yeah, I'm open to tinkering with it more this evening or this afternoon if anyone wants to stick around and troubleshoot. But yeah, obviously this one needs to be ironed out entirely in order to move on. But um, yeah.
Sweet. I guess that's it for demos then.
All right, so I guess we can move on to this week's retros, which may be a bit short, but here's the link to the retro board in the chat. All right, I guess we could take 5 minutes since it shouldn't be, as usual, we'll go through the usual flow. Let's think about the last 2 weeks. Go ahead and write your appreciations, what went well, what can be improved, and action items.
Hey, Emma.
Sorry,
It's okay.
I 30 minutes. Sorry.
What was that?
I'm sorry I'm late.
Yeah, it happens. Life happens. We're working on our retro right now, so feel free to jump on it.
Yeah, are you seeing the link in the chat? Paste it again if you need to.
I just did.
Okay, yeah, good. All right, pencils down, stop working. Let's share screen and get into this week's retros. Could you all just read the retros that you all posted? So I think we start with Allison.
Yes, I just said appreciate the support of the entire team. It's really easy to get lost in the weeds, but everyone really pitched in to help me on my issues the past 2 weeks. I think, yeah, I feel like last week or 2 weeks ago, I was less communicative and still received help, but then this past week I was more communicative and received even more help, and that was just super appreciated. I think it's just really cool to see the team come together and yeah, just felt really supported.
Nice. All right, Mindy.
Yeah. Kudos for Devin here. Seeing you hop in and continue debugging with the team was really helpful because like I popped in there and then stuff at work happened and I was like, I am focused on work stuff, very heads down for like 3 days. And then I got back and I was like, oh good. There's Devin, he's got it. We're all good. So that was nice.
Yeah. Emma.
I wrote appreciate the mentor's timely suggestions and help. Because with this week's ticket, we were confused, quite confused from the start, from the beginning. And Devin wrote some comments and suggestions with the code. We were able to finally implement it. And also, Mandy mentioned we need to install the library, the functions. If we haven't installed that, we couldn't get this working, couldn't get this running.
Yeah. Yes. Sarah.
Put appreciated Devin's general help about Collab Lab during office hours. I just wanted to use office hours as an opportunity to just like learn more of like how to like grow during this time of like of all of us building and how like all of us individually can do better of like what can benefit us for the job market after. And Devin was really helpful about that, and especially with supporting how to support like other team members better and how to approach peer reviews. So that was very helpful. And I appreciate the patience as I did
Yeah.
show
up late.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. It's a small session, but that's what office hours for. Dathan.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks, Devin and Mindy, for the last couple of weeks. Life has been utter chaos. I've been house hunting and working, and last weekend I wasn't here because I was at a bachelor party, which I planned. And I'm here to tell you, having done that exactly one time, it is rough. Lot of wrangling cats with that. Um, but yeah, I just appreciate that you guys have jumped in and uh, you know, kept the team moving because yeah, it's been a chaotic couple of weeks for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to what went well. Back to Mindy.
I've just been seeing a lot of flexibility from y'all. So, as you need to, you redirect focus. You work together as a group. You spend a little longer than you expected on different tickets, and you're rolling with it. And I think that flexibility is gonna serve you well as a software engineer.
Yeah, I agree. And seeing you all just jump into action this week just really showed that team spirit. Like I felt it was actually palpable this week. Like I just saw so much going on with all of you all, trying to help out each other in different teams just to get stuff done. It was really great to see that. Sarah. Sarah times two.
Yeah, yeah, I felt the same. I really loved all of us kind of joining in and trying to figure it out, especially at the end of last week's demos of all of us trying to cram all the issues together and get them pushed so we could all work. I feel like we had a good start, and it had a lot to do with all of us working together.
All right, and Allison.
I think, yeah, communication was huge. I think just echoing what everyone else has already said, being lively in the chat and asking for help, giving help. It was all there, which was really cool.
All right, and Mindy times two.
Echoing that for sure. So much communication. It's great. And then I also just wanted to call out Sarah's comment. I saw maybe we can make it into an issue for later, and I was just like, that's delightful. Well done. Well done keeping scope in mind and making that comment out loud. That's great.
Yeah. Emma.
I mentioned about like maintaining the communication within the team ourselves and also having the communication with the other team. And I do check in more often than last week, but not quite timely as last week or this morning. But that's something I need working on. But I love the communication we are having as a whole team.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, what could be improved, Mindy?
Yeah, so I think part of the reason there was some initial confusion on ticket 11 was because there was a part of the ticket that said, hey, calculate estimate's going to be here, and it wasn't. So appreciate y'all rolling with that and trying to figure it out and communicating it early. Like I feel like that was a like, hey, there's some confusion here. That was key to me figuring that out, that we were missing that piece. So appreciate that.
Yes, I would say timeliness, just trying to have issues finished, reviewed, and merged on time. But the flip side to that is, I think without last week's issues rolling over and that added pressure, I don't know if I would have seen you all just jump into action as you all did this week. So it's bad, but I think it may have also been good. Sarah?
Yeah, similar idea. Though I'm very understanding that the tickets have been larger and there's been a lot of complications. More of like so we can get the process a little bit smoother of like if we can just cram out the peer reviews and then mentors can get that review a little bit quicker, so that both of the teams aren't like at the end, so we both of our issues are not struggling. But at the same time, I understand that flexibility was really needed, and it's okay too. But there
Yeah.
might be a way.
All right, and moving forward, some action items. Allison?
Yeah, from here, making sure that date next purchase is updating properly before we move on to the next issue. I'm not sure if it's calculate estimate being funky or if it's how we're using calculate estimate. So planning on digging into that this afternoon.
Yeah, 100%, because the coming issues will probably depend on that. Sarah?
And just I'm going to make sure the point that was made so that exact matches aren't being submitted, or at least there's an error showing up so users know that it's not going to get added.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's go through the issues for for this week. Mindy?
There.
Yeah.
Do we, can you share your screen again?
No, 1 second.
I want to say there, we there's this okay, words, trying to say this tactfully. So the review process, like we're kind of talking about like we're getting up to the end of the week, and I want to say like first of all there's some pretty valid reasons why, like how we got there and why we got there, right? Like I think one of the reasons is that like we had issues the previous week that kind of bled over, and I think we're kind of in that situation again. So we are in that situation again. Is there anything that we think we could do as a team to get out of that situation?
Do you mean getting out of the situation of it happening again, or how are we planning on approaching like right after this meeting to get through this issue?
Both.
I think first things first, getting issue 11 done ASAP. That like goes into my plan for how to like not let this happen again. Um, I think I think just tidying up timeline, and to Sarah's point about like last week we were able to get the rolled over issue done, and then we were able to just be really snappy with peer review, and I feel like that happened within minutes. And I think just like stepping on the gas a little bit sooner, and um I don't know. I think there's also like an unspoken accountability that comes with that sense of urgency. I think more detailed action items. I'm like after this meeting going to spend more time with issue 11 if anybody wants to hang around and poke around with that with me. Making sure, and I feel like very like there's a clear focus for the time that I'm going to spend with that. And then hopefully we'll be able to complete the pull request by end of day today, and then move on to the next issues. And then I think just maintaining this spirit of teamwork and this like overdrive on communication, I think that really helped reduce the snowball effect of this past week. Emma, I'm not sure if you have anything you'd like to add, or if anyone else has anything they want to add.
I totally agree with you. I think for this week, because we are struggling with our own issue, so I kind of not making reviewing the other, like Sarah's ticket, as my first priority. I think that's the mindset I need to change and shift around for the next week.
Guys, prioritize
Starting.
your review before finishing your own. Is that what you're saying?
Can you say that one more time?
Like you're thinking you want to prioritize peer review over finishing your own. Is that right?
Yes. And also, since they are done, we could do that, do theirs first. And ours, we don't have a clear timeline to finish our ticket. And some misunderstanding or misprioritized the work.
I think that is generally something that like my teams always say is like make sure that you get those reviews done soon. Like on my team at work, like reviews, you got to review people's PRs. Like make sure you do prioritize that time. That seems like a good choice. I also want to mention, like we all know, like this situation, we're not in an actual work environment, right? So like there's this hope that yes, we do get stuff done on time, but we also understand that y'all have lives outside of TCL. So, you know, I don't want to over like pressure, put a lot of pressure on y'all to like get it done, right? So yes, it would be great and be good to get there, but also you have lives outside of this. And we are expecting like 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours a week. And so like if you're putting in more than that, like I want to make sure that y'all stay like that we're protecting y'all's time as well, too. So, you know, if that like one thing that could mean is the us as mentors stepping in and being even more hands-on like during an earlier part of the week, and waiting even a little less time, like if there is something that's like, oh hey, this is you know, we're really struggling with this, we want to get this going, maybe we need to come in and support a little bit more, so that way y'all are staying under that 6 hour timeline, so you don't have to, you know, spend lots and lots of time. You know what I mean? So yeah, happy to do that. I wish I could like step in right after this meeting, but I cannot because I have stuff that I have to go run and do. But yeah, just wanted to voice that over a little bit. Your time is important to us. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add? Cool. Okay. Thanks for doing that, Devin. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Cool. So talking about current issues, here's our issue board. Does any of this need to be updated right now, or is this sort of accurate? Cool.
That all looks right to me.
Awesome. All right. So next week's issues, we have 12 and 13. And then we have 14. Look at that. We're getting near the end, y'all. 12 and 13, we have Marcos and Emma are working on number 12, and Allison and Sarah are working on number 13. Number 12, the main idea here is that as a user, I want to be able to delete items from my shopping list so that my list isn't cluttered with items I don't want to buy in the future. So the list item component renders a button of some sort that allows the user to delete an item from their list when clicked. Clicking the delete button prompts the user to confirm that they really want to delete the item. And then the delete item function within that firebase.js file has been filled out and deletes the item from the Firestore database itself. Here's some notes here. Activating it should show a confirmation dialog. You always want to make sure that users have a chance to confirm any sort of destructive actions. And there are, you know, there's attempting to create your own model or modal dialog component. Might be worthwhile just to stick with the confirm for the time being. Any questions on this one? All right, so this one's long. It's long in text because I think we want to make sure that it stays focused and you have all the information that you need to make sure it's successful. So the idea here is that you want to view a list of your shopping list items in order of how soon you are likely to buy each of them again. So that way it's very clear what you need to buy soon. There's a lot of different ways to do that. This specifies that you're going to be sorting them into 4 possible groups. Need to buy soon within 7 days. Need to buy kind of soon within between 7 and 30 days. Need to buy not soon, 30 days or more until the next purchase, and inactive. 60 days have passed since the last purchase. So you're going to create some new UI elements that the user knows so that the user knows how their items are sorted, like making sure that you tell them like, hey, this is what's going on. And then you're also going to do some logic that's going to perform the sorting itself. It says read the acceptance criteria and our notes carefully to be sure you understand the tasks at hand and don't be afraid to reach out. So acceptance criteria, items in the list are shown with an indicator that tells the user they should buy the item soon, kind of soon, or not soon, or that the item is inactive. This list. And for accessibility reasons, we want to make sure that this urgency indicator does not rely on only color. You can use color, just don't have it be only color. And then the firestore.js file exports a new compare purchase urgency function that does the following. It sorts inactive items last, then in ascending order of days until purchased, and then the same days until purchase alphabetically. If you're able to complete all of that, there is another section here that you can do. It's called a stretch goal. So if an item's next purchase has passed, but it isn't yet inactive, so it's like getting between, oh, well, never mind. Slightly different. Date next purchase has passed, but it isn't yet inactive. So it hasn't gotten into this section. Then how can you deal with that to make it look like bring extra attention to that particular list? So you can extend that function that you created to sort those overdue items to the top of the list and then indicate in your UI somehow that the item is inactive. So some notes. There's a lot to do for this issue. Read this section for some ideas about how to approach the tasks ahead. The get days between dates function might be helpful here. Remember that the date and time store in the Firestore database are special. And so you'll need to make sure that you call to date on those to get them into a JavaScript date that you can deal with. And indicating purchase urgency in the UI, again, it's tempting to want to use colors to indicate how the user should buy an item, or icons, evidently. But keep in mind that if you use only colorblind user won't be able to tell the difference. So that's the accessibility thing. Or a color, even someone who's not fully, I don't know, never mind, not going to go down that path. If you use icons, you have to teach those users what those icons mean. So you can't just stick them on the page. You'll need to have like some sort of legend if you decide to do that. So with those constraints, it's probably best to render plain text, like soon, kind of soon, etc. in order to show urgency. You can still use some color alongside the text, and the design of where that text goes is up to you. And then lastly, sorting the list. We're sorting by multiple criteria, whether the item is active or inactive, one set of criteria, and then by the number of days until its date next purchased, and then alphabetically by name, if they have the same number of days until purchase. So sorting by multiple criteria can be tricky. This particular function here has you can be pretty flexible about how you use that function. So it might be worthwhile to take a look at how that works in particular. So compare function. That was a lot of talking. Any other questions before we wrap up on this one? No. How y'all feeling? Good. All right.
All right, so that guess that looks like it for this week. Just want to echo what Mindy said. If you all want to call for help early, please call for help early. Like, by before Wednesday, I guess. Um, I would encourage you to do what you have been doing, which was, if someone was available, just to bounce ideas off of, even it's not, even if it's on the other team, I think that's good. Just because of how big that other is used as well. So yeah, keep that team spirit going. Yeah. Ooh. All right, everyone, have a good week. I will see you all in Slack.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.